Oh, I think it's working. I think it's working. I'm excited about this. Here it goes. All right, welcome everybody. Brews and Bros number 18. A monumental Brews and
18
Bros.
too many. 18 too many. Nobody wants this.
Hey, there's breaking news again, Ben. Last week and this week's breaking news is much more interesting than last week's breaking news.
What is it? Aaron Rodgers has a new girlfriend.
No, well, maybe. No, we don't know about that. Breaking news is this: we got B&E, the Safeman Bros, and B&E, Bruce and Ekis tonight, bringing all kinds of fun to our show. They bring fun shirts, and in Bruce's case, a very funny shirt. Oh, I'm just kidding about that, Bruce.
Oh man!
No. There have been many memorable passes, including interceptions thrown by that guy that you're wearing a shirt. Ekis, your shirt is not as memorable, but it's fun.
Oh, it's memorable.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully you remember what happens in that shirt, because I don't know that many other people do. But you better, buddy, because we know there's two Ekises, right, Ben? Tell the story of two Ekises quick before we get into it.
I will never forget. Okay, here's the story of the two Ekises. As people know, I lived with Ekis on and off throughout college. And one of the times where I'm talking to him, and I'm telling him all the stuff that needs to happen the next day. And we were out at a bar. And I'm like, dude, this and this and this. And he had been drinking quite a bit. But I was like, this is what has to happen tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. And I need you to do this and this and this. And we'll meet up here and whatever. So the next day happens. It was whatever time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, he had plenty of time to get himself ready. And he was up and walking around. And I was like, dude, are you ready to go? And he was like, what? What? Huh? What? I'm like, I told you we got all the stuff we got to get done last night. Don't you remember any of this stuff? He's like, I don't remember any of that stuff. And I'm like, well, let's get going. So we got ready. We got everything done. Everything's fine, whatever. That night, he starts drinking a little bit. It's about 2 hours later after he started drinking. He comes up to me and he's like, hey, tomorrow. And he tells me everything, pinpoint what I told him last night in order of what had to be done tomorrow. I'm like, dude, that was already today. So
I think you just got the day
there's
wrong.
like there's drunk Ekis and there's non-drunk Ekis. And drunk Ekis remembers everything that ever happened when drunk Ekis was drunk Ekis. And then sober Ekis remembers anything that ever happened when sober Ekis is sober Ekis. But you can't talk to him as drunk Ekis and expect him to remember it as sober Ekis. That's why whenever he had, like, at the end of his career in college and he realized this, he started studying at the bars, because then he knew when he went to take his test, he would get A's because he would remember all the things when he come from when he was hungover or he was drinking before.
I didn't hungover.
He didn't know that his first couple of years. He was goofing off and he was studying when he was, sober, and then getting, it's a weird thing that happens with him, but I realized that years ago to not expect him to remember anything unless it had to do with sober and or drunk Ekis. There you go.
So who did I create that night?
What? Brady? You created Brady. Brady was nothing, and then you created him.
And Pingle and Lauterbach.
Lauterbach was nothing, and then you created him. You created a lot of people that you probably shouldn't have. Now Brady's okay. He's always good for a experience of some sort. But Lauterbach, that was one of the creations you should have never created, in my opinion.
Yep. Hey, say hi to Berks.
Hey, Berks.
Hey.
Brady was a free dancer as well, so he was entertaining,
Shut the door.
dancing. That's for
Shut
sure.
the doors.
All right, so we got a story about Ekis. Bruce, I'm sorry I gave you a hard time. Favre is growing on me now that we're several years removed.
I gotta admit, he's growing on me as well.
He's growing on
The
me.
only jersey I have,
That's okay. That's a lot of people would say that. I'm just glad it's not a purple 4. We'll give you credit for that.
That'd be bad.
No.
Think about all those people in Minnesota that bought all those purple 4s.
Well, I live in Minnesota, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
I have to deal with that all the time. Believe me. Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you hear from Minnesota people you see about Favre?
Oh, we had him 2 years and he was phenomenal, and it's to ridiculous, but at least they had a year with them, and they had the throw against at the last minute against who was it again that they beat fired through like a 30-yard throw in the back of the end zone.
That was I think the 49ers.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah.
So they they bring that up all the time. So.
And then you just bring up the Saints game where he threw it across his body, across the middle of the field for a pick.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
When he could have run for the first down, and
that was the best thing.
Across the field. Exactly. Yep.
That was the best part because all our Viking, like Mo, for instance, and the other people that we know that are Viking fans who gave us crap, and Favre, they were in the playoffs, and they beat us because Favre beat Rodgers the first 2 times they played him, right? And I'd hear all this crap about it, and I'm like, whatever. And they're like, oh, we got him now, and we're going to win all the way. And then he goes and does the classic Favre, and I was like, now you know what it feels. Get all your hopes up, get all fired up, and watch him just pick it off, throw it away like he always does.
Very true.
I don't know.
The thing about that whole thing too, he had Ryan Longwell could have kicked the field goal for him if he just picks up a couple of yards there. And Ryan Longwell is still one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. Had a lot of great years from the Packers. Again, that goes back to all those Packer players that the Vikings then said, "Oh, we can't figure out how to find good players on our own, but we'll take the Packers guys when they're done with them because they're still better than the guys we figure out."
They also took Dayton Jones, so they also take the bad ones.
That was later. I'm talking that time period there for quite a while. A bunch of good guys that they kind of recycled and got a couple more years out of them. But
there was a period where they had Longwell, Desmond Bishop, Greg Jennings,
Sharper,
half the team,
Sharper,
yeah, like all those guys.
Yeah,
Travis Jervey.
he didn't go there.
Travis Jervey went to the Vikings. we, even if he did, we would have never known because he wouldn't have played there, just like he didn't play with Beck. Oh,
I can go get my Jervey jersey.
You still have it?
Damn right, I still have it.
All right. Is it signed?
Does it fit?
Did you...
Not signed. I can make it fit. I
got a Dorsey Levens jersey.
I have Travis Jervey. I have Brian Williams. I have Donald Driver, Clay Matthews. I gotta get a new one now. Not sure who I'm getting.
Well, don't get Aaron Jones because the Packers are dumb and they're probably not going to sign him back.
I know.
I have a very bad track record with jerseys. I didn't buy jerseys forever. Then I got one Packer jersey. My first Packer jersey was a Doug Evans jersey. And the very next year, he was gone.
Yep.
And then a little bit later on, I really wanted a Bucks jersey, and my mom got me a Ray Allen jersey. The very next year, he was gone. And I'm like, no more jerseys. That's it. So that's all I got for you. So now, actually, the funny part is my Doug Evans jersey, which I still have, the S has fallen off. But my son's name is Evan. So I just be like, hey, buddy, look at this. I'm wearing your name on my back. And he's like, yeah, Dad. All right. Anyway.
Looking into the future.
He used to think it was cool. Now he just thinks I'm lame totally. So he's probably right. I did have some breaking news, but I'm trying to digest it. Anyway, here's the breaking news. We'll try to cover it the best we can. These guys might know a little bit more about the details than me, maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, the breaking news is the NFL and the NFLPA have come to an agreement. So it appears that they are moving forward with a football season. It was voted 29-3 by the player reps to approve it. There are opt-out options for players that are at high risk. There are also another opt-out option, and the players will get some money even if they opt out. If they're at high risk, they get more money than if they choose to just opt out and they're not currently having like an asthma condition or something else, or a number of different factors here at high risk.
Yeah, sickle cell is one of them.
Sickle cell, right?
Like
right.
that.
But the NFL does say, quote, the season will undoubtedly present new and additional challenges, but we are committed to playing a safe and complete 2020 season, culminating with the Super Bowl. So that's what they're planning. I don't know, you guys. Obviously, I'm happy they're going to play football if they can do it safely. I don't know what you guys think about that commitment to the season right now. Bruce, you go.
Well, I mean, you can say there's a commitment to the season, but you know how that goes. I mean, something, the stuff gets higher, and as far as the virus goes, and then all of a sudden things change. So I'm not going to get excited until the season actually starts and things start moving forward. So but we'll see. I mean, cross your fingers. Hopefully the season happens. I mean, excited about it, so we'll see.
Well, in football, there's zero way to socially distance when you're playing the game. It just obviously you can't. And then if they don't live in a bubble, if they go to a restaurant or bar, these are young kids, so what are they going to do? I don't see how you can actually monitor it. So I don't have high expectations for the season actually happening, which I'm in 7 fantasy football leagues. What the hell am I going to do? But I don't know. I have my fingers crossed. I'm all for them trying. We're not going to get our Packers season tickets this year. We're going to opt out. Why? I don't want to go there, and I don't know. That's what we're choosing to do. Did you guys see that? They're doing the different things for the fans. You can opt out, or you can go in the lottery or whatever, but you're not going to sit in the same spots. So I think they're doing that part right as far as fans go, but I don't know.
But even if you opt out, doesn't your money go to next year for season?
Yeah, it just flips over.
And then you don't refund you. It's just it goes into next year, I think, right?
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to give you the cash back. They like that cash. Staying with them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Bernard is here, and I got to catch you up here a little bit. Sorry, I still wasn't looking at the chat. Bernard says he loves the jersey, Bruce. Says Favre is his hero. So, Ben, I don't know where Bernard's on your scale now. He dropped maybe just one more notch.
Bernard was like, I was like, he was way up here as my favorite listener guy. And then last week he was like saying some stuff. And then I was like, what? And now he's Favre loving. And I'm like, what? I don't know. Come on.
You got to go back. You got to go look at the highlights, and then maybe you'll change your mind a little bit. I mean, I know he threw a lot of interceptions, but he was fun to watch, man.
Yeah, you know who else was fun to watch? Don Mikowski. Don Mikowski was awesome, and Favre took him away from me. That's why I hate Favre. Don Mikowski was a poison singing, football slinging quarterback.
Magic man,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Favre was just a country bumpkin who was doing crazy stuff. Come on. Mikowski was cool.
Until he threw 6 picks against Oakland that one game. That sucked.
Mikowski did?
I think so.
Wow, yay!
He might have. I don't know.
You can't just throw stuff around like that, Ekis.
I'm pretty sure.
You can't make false claims against Don Mikowski.
You have anything to back that up, Ekis? Come on.
I'll take a look. I'll fact check you here.
I'll say this. Mikowski led the league in passing yards in 89.
Yep.
I did not know that.
I think you're right, Ben. I think that's true.
I know. I remember, I mean, it was an awesome year that year. I was a kid, and it was like greatest thing in the history of all time, because all I remember was Packers stinking for years and years and years. And then, and we talked about this on a different show about the whole, we had the T-shirts and all that stuff. We had Tim Harris Sackman T-shirt, and we had Keith Woodside a T-shirt running in with all this kind of stuff. And we had the Magic Man where he's holding a bunny, pulling a bunny rabbit out of a hat T-shirt. They're all sold around the Green Bay area where Jason and I grew up, and it was awesome. But I forgot that, he led the league in yards, and most of them, of course, were to Sterling Sharp, who was unstoppable.
Yeah,
greatest receiver in the
all he
history
had
of
to
all
throw to.
time, besides not named Don Hudson.
Sterling Sharp was
But
ridiculous.
yeah,
Hey,
I don't know.
Bernard says he loves A-Rod too. So I just asked him in the chat. I'm like, Bernard, are you old enough to remember Magic? He may not. He may not be.
Yeah, he's probably too young.
We'll find out. All right, I gotta. Here. Look at this. I just looked up Don Mikowski. I pulled up the Wikipedia page for Don Mikowski. Right, the photo they have for Don Mikowski on the Wikipedia page is him in street clothes greeting Brett Favre at a Packers game. That's some trash, man. Can't you at least put the guy in his own uniform and give him that? Favre took his job And this is his Wikipedia picture. That's some BS. Anyway, all right. I'm trying to look it up. He did lead the league in yards. You know who's somebody else who had that monster year? I was looking this up as a side note, Ben. Remember last week we were talking about running backs? Bruce remembers. And Amon Green. So I mentioned the one season he had where he had 1,883 yards. He had a 5.3 yard average that year.
That sounds crazy.
He had over 400 yards receiving. So he had like 20, almost 2,400 total yards that year. 20 touchdowns between rushing and receiving touchdowns. He was not even in the MVP voting that year.
Who won?
Do you want to know? You know who won? That was the co-MVPs of Peyton Manning and Steve McNair. Won the MVP that year.
When always quarterbacks, man.
When freaking Amon Green, but it was a different game. Okay, here's the other part. You know who came in a distant third? Tom Brady. So I was like, what did Tom Brady do that year? Well, Tom Brady had 28 touchdowns. There might have been 23 touchdowns. I'll look it up again. It was some pathetic number. Nothing exciting with his statistics at all that year. And he actually, his quarterback rating for the year was 85.9. And he came in third in the MVP voting. Amon Green couldn't even get on the list. Then it was Jamal Lewis who had the crazy big rushing total that year, over 2,000 yards rushing that year.
Well, see, that's the thing.
And then Priest Holmes had 27 touchdowns, but didn't have the yards. But if you looked at the total season and the production from a running back standpoint, Green was better than both those guys when you looked at receiving, all of it put together. And then he still had 20 touchdowns. Yeah, a few less touchdowns than Holmes, but he had a lot more production on the field and yardage and a way better average. And so I think Amon Green should have been MVP. I think he got screwed, man. Bruce, you got thoughts on that?
He's the top two, of all time, in my opinion. And I said that last week. I don't think he's number one, but he's number two. Absolutely. No doubt. I mean, you go back and watch the highlights. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
No. See, and that's another problem. I was a Dorsey Levens fan, huge Dorsey Levens fan. So I can't like Amon Green because he took Dorsey's job. So I don't like him. Don't like him. Don't like Favre because I'm a Mikowski fan. It makes perfect sense in my brain.
He's biased.
Not anyone else's.
Come on.
So I never liked Amon Green. He could have had 50 freaking touchdowns. I still wouldn't have liked him.
Hey, Ben, just so you know, in high school, I had the Mikowski cut in the back.
Dude, who did it?
I was actually the quarterback, and they called me Magic Man, man. So I'm right there with you. I got a little bit of connection with you, even though I don't with the Favre Magic thing.
We have a great connection. If you had the Mikowski look and you were a quarterback, I played Every Rose Has Its Thorn at my freshman and sang at my freshman pop concert. So you got one half of the Magic Man. I was the other half of the Magic Man. See, that's the connection we got.
There you go.
Oh, man. Hold on. Bernard answered, no, I became a Packers fan at age 7, guys. So.
How old is he? 17?
I don't know. Bernard's one of our.
Must be a young feller. I like him.
Favorites.
Speaking of.
Here, hold on. I got to give you this real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
You got
it. Here it is. You ready? Here it is. Wait. Oh, I got to move us here.
That's terrible.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Poor Mikowski.
That right there.
That's Don. I'm Don Mikowski, my Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Enough of that. All right, Ben, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Bernard is one of our subscribers. I don't even know who the guy is, but he, subscribed, which is awesome. And I wear a special shirt in honor of Jason Eckes, our fine guest today, and the number of subscribers we currently have. I wore the classic Eckes t-shirt.
Hey!
Square 69 equals 8 something for all you non-math majors. And we have 69 subscribers now. So, hey, it's a double meaning shirt. Got that shirt from singing at Eckes' wedding. It was a classic Statesman thing that they said for years and years and years that I never understood because they came up with it before I ever got in Statesman, but we still kept saying it for some reason. And I still to this day don't really know what it means or why. But I wear the shirt, and you don't know how many people, when I wear it, people say something like, "Man, that's an awesome shirt," and I'm like, "Thanks." I don't know
You
what
should
it
see
means.
the guy who gave it to me.
Yeah, he's not awesome, but whatever.
Crispin was at
Then
some.
the scariest part is when people see this shirt and they come up to me and they go, "Were you a math major?" And I'm like, "You actually think the square root of 69 is 8 something? I mean, it is technically, I guess. But no, I wasn't a math major."
69. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I like that number.
All right.
Bruce was actually at some of those parties back in the day.
Was he? Come
Mhm.
on. Dang.
Was he? I honestly don't remember this guy, Bruce. I don't know. Did I ever meet him?
Yeah, I remember you, Ben.
Were
You
you
had
at the
long
Palace?
hair. I remember that. Absolutely. Thanks for remembering me. I appreciate it.
Hey,
A funny story is my wife was Bruce's boss at Ron's Castle Foods,
Ron's
she had-
Castle Foods?
and she had a crush on
Whoa.
Yeah, and she
Had
had
a crush on who?
Bruce,
Wow.
but she isn't.
Wow.
We're getting deep.
Well,
here.
I once,
Dang.
I
looked
once,
in the college days, just to let you know.
well, we all did.
This is
Except
a
for Jason.
crazy.
My brother looks exactly the same as he did
Aw,
when he was in
Mhm.
college.
I got
When
a
he's
couple
40
wrinkles.
frickin' 3 years old.
Got a couple wrinkles right in here, and a couple of gray hairs. There's one there, one.
Oh my
there,
God.
one there, two there.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I got it for you. Bernard is 26, so there's no way he could be a Magic
Oh,
fan.
he's a young guy.
No way he could be a Magic fan. So he's as a kid, young kid. Favre looks great to him. Yes, we get it. Favre, love him. A-Rod, yeah, you gotta love him because you grew up with him as a Packers guy. Bernard, way to go. You entered your Packer fandom. We entered this world at a good time to be a
Yeah, this
Packers
guy's
fan.
only known Packers
because-
success.
We, the four of us here, knew when the Packers stunk. And it
Hey, Lynn
sucked.
Dickey. Lynn Dickey, man. He doesn't know Lynn Dickey. Come on.
He also doesn't know
Him there,
Randy
yep.
Wright, and he doesn't
Right.
know Anthony Dilwig, and he doesn't know. Give me a couple other guys. Ben, who else you got that was really
Oh,
good?
Blair Keel, I already
Blair
mentioned.
Keel,
Yeah.
yeah, he wasn't very good.
Epps.
I don't know anybody else.
Apps.
Yeah, Epps.
Who
Epps
else
was
you
a
got?
receiver, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about
All
the
kinds of guys.
terrible quarterback. Randy Wright was one of the worst ones that I remember as a kid.
Yeah, but he was a Badger, so you got to give him a
I know
break.
that's why we were excited. We're like, here's a Badger for the and then the Packers were like, for the next 30 years, no Badgers. That's it. Randy Wright screwed it all up for TJ Watt and all the other Watts and everybody and all the good running backs. No, we don't want Brent Moss. We don't want Terrell Fletcher actually had a pretty good career who I wish the Packers would have drafted that year. No. We don't want Troy Vincent. We're going to draft Terrell Buckley instead. Ooh, I'm just going to bring us you guys. Hated that pick so much. God. And Vincent was like taller, could do everything Buckley could do. And he played at Wisconsin. But we're going to draft a shorter, smaller guy who plays from Florida. Get out of here. Dumb. Okay. Bernard's 26. Let's see here. We know baseball's starting today, but I got to give you this real quick. Tom Brady in 2003, just to make this point horrible, even more. Here are his stats from 2003. 60% completion percentage, 3,620 yards with a 6.9 average, 23 touchdowns, 12 picks. And somehow that is third behind Ground McNair and Peyton Manning. And Amon Green can't get on the list with having a monster year. That's some crap. So 2003 should have been another Packer MVP. That's what I say. I'm telling you, man. Go back and look at Amon Green stuff. He's so
I don't
good.
care. He was on a
All right.
team with Brett Favre. He's not going to get the respect. He was behind Priest Holmes in touchdowns, and he was behind freaking Jamal Lewis in yards. He wasn't going to get the respect. We all know that wasn't going to happen. Sorry, he's a running back. No. And what was the Packers' record that year?
10-6. They went to the playoffs. They're the 4th seed. That was, I think, the year of the 4th and 26, I believe. Bruce, is that right?
I think that's accurate.
Oh,
actually.
God. That's a painful
Or
memory. too.
26. That was
What the
worst.
hell am I
Why
just
you
bringing up
bring that up?
painful memories?
Yeah, why don't you just bring up the Seahawks NFC Championship game?
No.
We've
No,
done that
it's
too many times.
Cry. You're gonna make me cry. A couple other things from this league deal. They did have to accept that the revenue is going to be less They didn't actually lower the salary cap this year, but they're going to lower the salary cap next year and make some adjustments over the 3-year period in order to compensate for the lost revenue they're anticipating this year without fans. Yes, Ekis, what you got?
I was wrong. Don Mikowski had 5 interceptions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on October 14th, 1990. But he was beat because Brett Favre had 6 against somebody.
Oh, yes.
He had 6 against the Rams in the playoffs. I don't want to keep talking about this over and over again. I bring it up like every show.
Okay, I just found it. Okay.
Well, I wore the jersey. I wanted to give a talking point.
No. Just like Jason said one time, he said Mark Tauscher on his radio show said Brett Favre should have had 10 interceptions that game.
In that one game.
The guys were dropping them. And don't remember, Tony Dungy, when he was head coach of the Buccaneers, would tell his guys, hey, keep your eyes up. Favre's going to throw you like 4 balls. Pick them off. Let's go. And now we got a guy who's the exact opposite. He'll see a guy wide open and not throw it to him because he's afraid he's going to drop it or it's going to bounce off his hands and get. So it's how are we going to win? I don't know.
I'd be afraid of that too.
You either got a guy who's too safe. You got a guy who's just reckless.
Yeah, but he wasn't always.
It works.
That's what made Rodgers so great in the beginning of his career was he went through his progression so fast and found the open guy and lasered it in. He's just gotten gun shy because he doesn't want the picks.
And injury.
No, he holds on to the ball too damn long. If he didn't want an injury, get rid of it.
I think I saw something that he is now the second. He's now dropped the second in all-time passer rating. Remember, he was always number 1 for the longest time. I think I saw that he's now rated as second of all time because the last couple of years his numbers have not been as good. His passer.
Who's number 1? Drew Brees.
God, I hope not.
Matt Ryan.
Probably.
Eddie Ice.
Oh God. Nuts. Matt Ryan. Oh my gosh. Oh.
He's still slightly ahead of Wilson, but Wilson is like right behind him.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I look at the stuff. I know all Rodgers stuff.
Okay.
Plus, I watched every single interview with him ever, which is again why I think people totally make a bunch of crap out of stuff.
I think you're a little obsessed, dude, with this guy. Like, calm down already.
Hey, he doesn't have a girlfriend anymore. His family, nothing. Someone's got to care about him. I do. Aaron, care about you, buddy. You want to come on this show? You come on and join us. We'll treat you right.
Yeah,
just
Jason,
like Pat
I care
McAfee.
about him too, man. I'm ready whenever you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, what do you got? Go ahead. You sent me that thing. You tell us a little bit about what
let's talk about
you sent me today.
Well, so we talked about the last decade, right? As far as what Aaron Rodgers' QB rating is. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I did a little research. Okay. Because I didn't want Ben to rip me. So I wanted to make sure that I had my stuff in order here. So now granted, and I'm gonna compare this with Tom Brady because he's supposedly the GOAT, So let's look at this. So I realized Tom Brady has 41 games in the playoffs compared to Rodgers 18. So, there's a little bit of a difference there, and I understand that. But let's look at this. So Aaron Rodgers' QB rating in the playoffs is 100.9, okay? Tom Brady's QB rating in the playoffs is 89. Okay, now granted, okay, let's take those games a little bit. Maybe they're closer than that, okay? Because if AR was had 41 games, he probably would be maybe 95 or something like that. So they're probably closer. So I'll give you that. But let's look at this. So playoff losses, okay? Defensive average for AR in those playoff losses, 37 points a game almost in those 8 games because he's 10-8 in the playoffs, okay? 8 games, 37 points a game the defense has given up on average. For Tom Brady and the defensive average for the 11 games that he's lost, 26 points a game. Okay, that's number 1. Playoff wins. Let's look at this. Defensive average for AR in those 10 games, 19 points per game the defense gave up. in Tom Brady's playoff wins, 19 points per game. Interesting. In the 30 games that he won. Okay. So you also can look at this. So Eli Manning has an 87.4 rating, but he has 2 titles. Peyton Manning has an 87.4 rating, has 2 titles. Joe Flacco has an 88.6 rating, has 1 title. Rodgers, again, has a 100.9 playoff rating, and he has 1 title. What does this tell you? It tells you that Aaron Rodgers has been a phenomenal quarterback in the playoffs. Now, granted, maybe there's a few games that he wasn't as great, but if he had a defense of Brady's that averaged 19 points a game in the playoff wins, he would have way more championships than he has now. And that is the reason why Tom Brady has 6 titles, is because his defense has given up only 19 points a game in 30 games in the playoffs. Is Tom Brady the GOAT? In my opinion, I don't think so. You can't look at Super Bowls. Tom Brady is a system QB, and that is my opinion. And you look at the stats, that's the case. Aaron Rodgers, way better quarterback overall in the last how many years that he's been in the NFL. Just because he has 1 Super Bowl has nothing to do with how good he has been compared to Brady. I'll let you guys take over from here and tell me how wrong I am.
Ben, you like to bash on Rodgers? Do you want to go?
Well, how am I bashing on Rodgers? I like Rodgers.
I know.
I will say this.
You like to pick him
I will
apart,
say
though.
this. I will say this.
All right, you say
The
it.
difference between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in those losses. Now, granted, the points you just said there's 11-point difference between the two. Or maybe it was 9. I can't remember if it was 37-26 or if it was
11.
okay, it was 37-26. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a heck of a lot of points. And the difference, the reason why there's such a disparity in quarterback rating is because when Rodgers gets behind, especially the last half of the playoff career he's had, and he knows there's no chance because his defense stinks, he doesn't take chances. He doesn't try to get him back into the game. He doesn't Brett Favre it. And the weirdest part is that's just making me almost in my old age start to like Brett Favre more. Because Brett Favre threw 6 picks in a game because he was like, I gotta go for it. Let's go. And Rodgers is like, you can watch him on the sidelines. He's like, yeah, we're screwed. It don't matter anymore. And he did it in the 49ers game this last playoff season.
Well,
He knew it was over. He did take some shots. He took a shot at the end of the game, whatever. But that's why there's such a huge disparity in their quarterback rating. Because Rodgers, like against Atlanta a couple years back, when they beat Dallas and they go to Atlanta and just got trounced, the whole second half he wasn't taking shots. He wasn't trying. And every time Atlanta would get the ball, they'd go right down the field and score. That's why all the Packer fans were going nuts. Like, why is Dom Capers still here? He should have been gone 2-3 years ago. We all knew that. And those are things I would say about the playoff rating. As far as Tom Brady goes, Tom Brady is a system quarterback. The difference between Tom Brady and Matt Ryan and Drew Brees, and the reason why Tom Brady has all of the Super Bowl wins and has been to the Super Bowl so many times, Tom Brady does not hang on to the ball. He gets rid of the ball. He reads the defense. He knows exactly where he's going with the ball before the even play starts, most of the time. And he does have a very strong arm, and he's accurate downfield. And he kind of has like a sixth sense in the pocket. He shifts a little bit this way, shifts a little bit this way. He can do things like that. But it is a good system. And I talked about this before, where Chris Sims talked about that system and how they call plays that work against any type of defense that the opposing defense plays. So like if they play a two shell, or if they play a 3 deep man, or whatever the heck it is, they call plays that are going to beat those defenses no matter what, so that Tom Brady can recognize what it is and get the ball to the guy or the route that's going to beat that particular defense. Or other teams call specific plays to go up against specific defenses. If the defense doesn't play that defense when the offense is calling that play, the play doesn't work. Where the Patriots system is great because it's always going to work against no matter what they do because they run certain route combinations that work against every single type of one. So he's like, okay, this defense, this side of the field is not going to work. I'm looking over here. And vice versa, whatever it is. He can make the play and make the decision. So it's part of great system. A guy who's been in that system for years and years and years and understands it well, has a very good arm, has a great sense in the pocket, and throw the ball downfield, has a strong arm. And that's the difference between him and those other guys.
Gronk.
Yeah, Gronk. But if you got him, you use him.
Belichick.
I want to add to that too, because I
McDaniels.
think you guys are right, but also it'd be interesting to see what the time of possession is in those games too, because Brady doesn't throw it downfield like Rodgers does and tries to pay. He throws underneath to his running backs. He does these smaller plays. The defense isn't on the field as much as the Packers defense is. We go 3-0, and then our defense is on the field.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jason. I'm glad you
more
brought that up.
as anything else.
Actually, I didn't bring this up, but I looked at the offense as well in the playoff losses. Okay. And Brady's offense was 18 points a game on average in those playoff losses. Aaron Rodgers, 25 points a game on those playoff losses. So let me ask you this. How do you score an average of 25 points a game in the playoffs and you still lose? That's a problem.
No, but that's coaching.
Yeah, 25 points a game should get you to win a playoff game most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And that's the thing that I see. I mean, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is perfect. I'm not saying that, but I can tell you what, there's a lot of problems on that defense the last, 14 years or whatever that he's been in the league.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying, is that more on the defense or is it more on the coaching, the play calling? Hey, let's slow this down and keep our defense off the field as much as possible.
It's a combination.
And, I think so too. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are some Dom terrible stats right there.
Well, hey, it wasn't just
Dom
just Dom. The other thing that we have to remember
players,
is
the personnel was bad. It
exactly
was bad drafting.
Think of the team that they had when they went and won the Super Bowl. They had Brian Pickett. They had Howard Green off the scrap heap. They put him in there, and he was playing defensive nose tackle and was busting crap up. They had B.J. Raji. They had Clay Matthews. They had Tremont. They had Woodson. They had Sam Shields. They had Nick Collins. They had playmakers that were drafted and also signed as free agents. And then over the years, their drafts were terrible. They lost the guys who were good. They were never replenished. Dom Capers he had like no tools left. Who did he have? Clay Matthews, and that's it. They had nobody else who could do anything. And that was the biggest problem. So you got to blame the front office.
Yeah, I agree.
That's where it
starts. And not only that, I mean, the playoff, even the Super Bowl win they had, the Steelers almost came back and won that game.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference in that game was turnovers. Rodgers did not turn the ball over. The Packers did not turn the ball over. Roethlisberger threw 2 picks, and Mendel, had the fumble, right? The Spilla Pickett play.
And let's be honest,
that's the difference.
The reason why they probably came back was because Shields and Woodson got hurt.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, that's true.
No, I'll tell you, the reason the Steelers were able to come back is because Jordy Nelson dropped 6 balls, you guys.
Well, that too.
I mean,
and Double D got hurt.
If Jordy Nelson catches those balls, like, it's not even close. And Aaron Rodgers has a record in the quarterback rating in the Super Bowl and has 2 more touchdowns and over 400 yards. And and he doesn't have to make a perfect pass to Greg Jennings to get a conversion and all that stuff. Doesn't have to happen because
that's
Jordy Nelson should just caught the ball. Hold on.
The other thing too is the offense too, though. They didn't replenish
right.
They got Devontae, thank God. But otherwise, when you lose Jennings, Jones, Jordy, still around, Donald Driver, Randall Cobb was actually pretty dang good, and that's what they miss now. They have no slot guy, which is why I was hoping they were going to draft
Kumaro.
He's not a slot guy, Eckes. Come on.
Hey,
he's
30 years old.
If you stick him in the slot, he's a slot guy. That's the answer. Now,
they
Randall
tried.
Cobb,
Hey, that's what they said they were going to do with Allison. Remember last year, like, Geronimo is our slot guy. I'm like, really, Geronimo? Guy with no speed, no agility, and terrible hands. That's your
Yeah.
slot guy?
And remember, Jason, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
but,
you're fine. I was just trying to get some comments in the chat here quick, but go ahead, Bruce.
Realize that all these guys are, I mean, okay, Kumro is an undrafted free agent, right?
Yep, you're right.
So is
Lazard.
Lazard's an undrafted free agent. Not saying that he couldn't be decent, but I wouldn't be surprised if he regresses this year because he's an undrafted free agent. I mean, undrafted free agents don't usually become superstars. I mean, let's be honest about that. Okay. And then you have, MBS that was a 5th round pick. You got St. Brown that was a 6th round pick. I mean, I just don't see these guys getting, being in the $700, $600, $700, 700 yards in particular. It's Adams, and that's who it is.
What about Funchess?
There's
Or Funch.
yeah. I mean, you're right though. There's just not a lot invested in that position for sure on the Packers end. And so you get what you get. And the only thing about Lazard, why I don't think he's going to regress is because of who he is, because of the kid he seems to be, the work ethic. And then, a guy that I grew up with, taught at Iowa State, knew him, had him in classes, and was touting his praises as soon as he got on the Packers. He's like, this kid's going to do something if he gets a chance.
Yeah, back in November
knows,
of 2018.
Because he knows who he is. And I was like, well, okay. Because a lot of times it's about that. It's about the commitment, the attitude, the person. So I think Lazard's going to still be good. Now, I got to put this out there. We have Nicole, who I've never heard from before, in the chat. Hey, Nicole.
That's one of my buddies. That's one of my friends.
Oh, okay.
He's using his wife's. I
got it. Anyway, he just put Russell Wilson there. I don't know what that meant, but probably thought what we were trying to get at, where Ben was trying to be right, but Ben was wrong again because Wilson's still behind Rodgers in the rating, although slightly. And Browner, Jesus, the man was driving through storms, RVing out in Yellowstone, and he still makes it onto our show tonight in the chat. Brown,
I know he saw
doing,
a cow
buddy?
in the sky. He said a cow in the sky.
Yeah. And Brown's got a bunch of stuff. He said, how many Super Bowls would AR win if he had the Pats defense? I said 8. And then he also said that Ted is as much at fault as anyone about how bad the defense was. And yes, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. But we're seeing with Gutekunst that it's very common to be a sucky drafting GM. Like a lot of people just apparently aren't very good at it.
It's common in Green Bay, but
you hate
other teams seem to do well.
However, Josiah DeGora signed today. It's official.
Thank God, or else we had nobody to play fullback.
The should have been 6th round pick, instead 3rd round selection that we passed on defensive tackles, linebackers, and things we needed. He's on the team.
Could have had Neville Gallimore. No, we couldn't have. He was gone.
Not there, but they should have got him in the 2nd round. God dang it.
Could have had Dylan in the 3rd round.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe not.
I guess doesn't think so. Okay. Well, we could have lived life without Dylan and got a running back next year. That would have been okay too. Oh, here's an interesting thing that I'm curious about, and this kind of goes back to the big agreement, is that with the lower salary cap next year, people are talking about what are the teams going to do and how this is going to affect free agents who are going into next year. So I want to know what you guys think in the chat, but also you guys can talk on it. Do you think that's going to make it more difficult for the Packers to sign back Aaron Jones? Or is it going to bring down the market across the board and they might actually get Jones cheaper than they otherwise would have?
I think it depends on how much Jones wants. I mean, we know he's worth a lot. We know he's very talented and he could go for top dollar, but the market's going to be flooded next year. There's a ton of good running backs out there. So I'd love it. I mean, he seems like a good guy, and it'd be cool if he says, hey, tells his agent, this is how much I want to get. If the Packers get it to me and they're smart and pay him, because he's worth money, give him some money. But I don't know. I bet you they let him walk. Pick up one of those guys. They're going to let him walk, and then because there's such a flood, they'll pick up whoever's left afterwards. They'll pick up one of those guys.
I think it's going to all depend on, unfortunately, how he does this year if they play games and when they play games. You know what I mean? And then not only that, how they use him. Because the thing that I still trying to wrap my head around is when you have Dylan, you draft him. He's obviously going to be, I think he's going to be a big part of the offense, even as young as he is, and with no offseason really. At running back, he can still come in and play and do some big things. So how does that eat into Aaron Jones' time? The thing that I would like to see is have them utilize Aaron Jones in kind of like almost, kind of like a Deebo Samuel type role where he's do some reverses with them, do some kind of like, put him in the slot, get him some screen passes, wide receiver outside screen passes in space, because he's really shifty and able to move around there. And if they use him properly in all these different ways and they realize his value, when they have other guys, like, as Bruce just said, we got a bunch of receivers on the team who aren't exactly burners. They're not exactly going to be killing everybody. But Aaron Jones can kill people if they put him out there at receiver and in slot, because they have no slot guy right now. And that could be a way to do it. And if they use him and see how important he is, they would be able to use him in that like Swiss Army knife, just offensive playmaker type role. Kind of like the Micah Hyde he was always the offense or the defensive guy who just makes plays, right? Well, make Aaron Jones the offensive switchblade. He just does whatever you need him to do. And give him the money. Make him a focal point of the offense. Use Devontae, use him. And then if Dylan is what I think he's going to be, you're going to have a three-headed monster of three totally different types of guys that the defense has to worry about. But with no offense and not a lot of time to work on this sort of stuff, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. And that's what scares me. I'm afraid they're going to just do the same crap where they're going to just call plays. And Matt LaFleur is going to be like, I called the play. Oh, wait. Oh, Jamal Williams was in there. Oh, crap. I thought it was Aaron Jones. Oh, well, whatever. I didn't know he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a guy with incredible skills. Make a play for that guy. Here's a guy who can do all kinds of awesome stuff. Make a play for that guy. That's all you got to do. And realize what he has. Realize the talent he has. And I'm afraid they're not going to do it because they haven't had time to do it. Unless all they've been doing during this quarantine time is LaFleur and Nathaniel Hackett and all those guys just sitting around being like, oh, think about this cool play. What about this wacky play? What if you do this and do that? If they've been doing that during this quarantine and then they can like execute those plays, that would be awesome. But I'm not holding my breath. Back to you.
Plus, if with no time, I mean, Jones catches the ball well out of the backfield. So is he the safety valve? Are they going to use him like that a lot, which would be good? So.
This is the thing that also is very interesting. And I said it back when they let him go this in the offseason. All preseason, we watched Dan Vitale like do awesome stuff in practice. That's all he ever talked about. Danny Vitale, look at all this crazy stuff he does in practice. We got to get him the ball. LaFleur, we got to get him the ball. Nathaniel Hackett, oh yeah, we're going to get him the ball. We're going to get him the ball. All freaking season. The guy didn't get the friggin' ball. They didn't use him. Hardly at all. And now what team is he on? The Patriots. Oh my God. Watch the Patriots use this guy. Watch Vitale like destroy everybody, doing all kinds of crazy stuff from the fullback position with the Patriots. Just watch. And then you'll see the difference between a coaching staff that says, okay, I've got a guy who's fast, who's agile, who's big, who can do things. I'm going to use him. And then you got the Packers coaching staff who's like, they don't realize things. They don't see that the guy, even LaFleur, I know he's young. I know he's only a head coach this 1 year. And he's only run offense 1 year before that when he was a play caller. Before that, he was always kind of like the second fiddle guy behind somebody else. But they have to learn. If you want to win, take your talent, put your talent in the best position to win. That's what the 49ers do. They got George Kittle, we're going to get him the ball. We got Deebo Samuel, we're going to get him the ball. If we got to play, we know we're playing somebody who likes to do stunts to the outside, or they have heavy pass rushers like the Packers always want to go rush the passer. Okay, you're going to do that. We're going to let you go, and then we're going to do delayed handoff to Mostert right up the gut, and he's going to run all over the goddamn place. And that's what they did. They knew what the Packers defense was going to do. They used the guy's talents because he's super stinking fast. Mostert was. Boom, they killed us. But the Packers need to do that as a coaching staff. Figure out what you got and use it.
You know what they're going to do? The Patriots, but they are going to use Vitale a lot. He's going to be a lead blocker for Cam on this quarterback sweep around the corner. You're gonna lead him.
Yeah, I
He's
bet
the lead
you
blocker for
he would have
Cam.
had a bigger role had Cam not signed with him. I agree. Yes.
Right. I gotta get a couple things in the chat here. So Nicole points out Bart Starr has 105 career playoff passer rating. Bart Starr was awesome, man. No doubt. Him and Rodgers, the only two Packer quarterbacks to be Super Bowl MVP, by the way. Also,
you gotta rub it in.
Sorry, Nicole also says that Vitali's only gonna be a special teams player at best for the Pats. I think the Pats will figure out a way to use him. And Bernard, dang it, Bernard says, I don't get it. He says, Ben, don't be too hard on my boy A-Rod, but you're still the man. I don't know why Bernard likes you so much. What the hell?
Because he's super smart. Come on.
And then Bernard also points out he wishes A-Rod didn't get hurt in 2017. And I agree. I think that could have been a year that team might have been able to do something, but
I don't.
I do.
Is that the year Jordy got hurt? No, he got hurt in 15.
No, that's the year freaking Rodgers. That's the stupid Anthony Barr year.
Oh, Anthony Barr. Whoa. I still say I always I shouldn't say this, but I remember after when the Vikings played the Packers, the next game at Lambeau, I was like, if somebody brought a gun in, then, I don't know. I'm not saying kill the guy, but just shoot him in the leg so he can't play. I wouldn't be mad.
They could have taken
Anthony Barr's leg.
They could have roughed him up good.
Just put a helmet at his knee. Then it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I don't like Anthony Barr.
I don't like Anthony Barr either.
Can I make a prediction?
Yeah, go, Bruce.
So with you and Ben and Eckes, we're talking a little bit about this. In my opinion, they will sign Clark, Aaron Jones, and Kevin King, and they will release Bach, and they will release Jackson and Wagner and a bunch of those other guys, after this year. And they will actually also release Preston Smith. I am making that prediction. And that is how they're going to sign Aaron Jones, Clark, and Kevin King. Because Kevin King, if he plays good again this year, which I think he will if we play, you have to keep cornerbacks because they're hard to come by.
At least in Green Bay, they are. Yeah,
Matt LaFleur is a big running back guy. Aaron Jones will be signed, even though they have drafted, the guy in the draft. What's his name again? I can't remember.
Dylan.
Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan.
The sauce. Just call him the sauce.
Yeah, the sauce. And then Clark, obviously, you have to keep him because he's one of the best players on the defense, if not the best player on the defense. So that is my prediction: is Preston Smith will be released after this year. We save $8 million, and then we will get rid of Bach. We won't re-sign him, and then we will also get rid of Lindsley as well as a couple other guys, and that's how we are going to do 3 of those. That's my prediction.
What about Devontae? Because Devontae's contract's up the same time as Bakhtiari and Lindsley's up.
I forgot about that, actually.
And that's another one where we're in trouble. Well, but he's going to be – how old is he going to be at that point? And
what, 29, 30? 29, 30.
If they're moving on from Rodgers, if they move on from Rodgers, then they can get rid of Devontae. If they don't move on from Rodgers, they got to keep him.
I like that Preston Smith thing because I agree. I think Preston Smith is the weaker of the two Smiths. Everybody would agree with that. But the only way that can happen is for Rashawn Gary to become something.
Yeah.
Right.
If Rashawn Gary doesn't become something, they can't afford to cut Preston Smith. And that's the thing. So we need Rashawn Gary to somebody to stick a pole up his butt or whatever and make him start doing something and get in the games and make some plays.
Why do you think they're going to let Bakhtiari go?
That's surprising, Bruce.
He's 31, and I just don't think they're going to sign him again. They're not going to pay him.
I think he's come
down a little bit.
Yeah, he hasn't been as good. He's had more injury issues, nicks, and things like that. He hasn't missed a lot of time, but he's definitely had some nicks and not performed quite as well.
He can drink beer really fast.
He can.
Yes, he can. That's
a big gullet. Holy crap! But
I honestly don't think they're going to get rid of Bakhtiari.
I can't see it either because they're so bad at drafting. They're so bad at drafting linemen. They're terrible at. That's another.
Not only that,
what the hell? Hold on a second. The Packers. I'm just thinking about this. So the Packers are terrible. They don't invest in wide receivers. They have their really good running back as a 5th round pick. Jamal Adams is a 4th round pick. Okay, now we want a 2nd round pick. He'll probably be a bust, even though he's the sauce, nicknamed the sauce. But then you have Corey Linsley at center, 5th round pick. Bakhtiari, they just lucked out with because he was an awesome dude. He's a 4th. What have they invested in this freaking offense forever? Why is this just hitting me now, slapping me in the face?
That's why we're all concerned.
Yeah. And they haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds since Devontae Adams in 2014.
What are they doing?
Good question.
What are they doing? Ekis, I need your comment on Bruce's prediction that K squared is going to be back, which, Bruce, I don't like that prediction.
Jason hates. Yes.
I don't like it at all. Ekis, you want Kevin King back on this team?
It depends on what my options are if he's not.
You can give me anybody. Good. Tell Tremont Williams come out of retirement and you play again this year, or give me any.
Did Tremont retire, or is he gone for good?
He probably.
I don't think he officially retired, but he's
retire
not on the team.
Yeah. Did they cut him? I missed it if they did.
No, his contract was up.
Yeah. It was.
So they just let him walk.
Yeah, they just didn't sign him back.
Here's the guy I'm excited about. All right, go ahead, Ekis.
I was going to say I would rather invest in trying to keep Bakhtiari than, I know they're not the same price range, but being creative with Bakhtiari and letting King walk. That'd be my preference, but
I think Shannon Sullivan. I mean,
that's my guy.
Give me somebody.
That's
I don't
my
care.
guy.
Give me the Canadian dude, the guy who played at the University of
Oh
Montreal.
my God, you and that
Stick him out
Canadian
there
guy.
instead of Kevin King. I don't care.
Here's the thing: if that Canadian guy is halfway decent, we can do it. Shannon Sullivan is probably my favorite defensive player right now. Besides him and Jair Alexander are tied. Shannon Sullivan just makes plays. Go back and watch the tape last year. When it was 3rd down and we needed to stop, he was the guy making the break up the pass. He was the guy making the tackle. He was the guy making plays all over the place. He's like Micah Hyde. And I like that. I want a guy who makes plays. I don't know if he can play outside corner, but he can play slot corner, and he does a great job. So that's good. That's actually what I was thinking to ask you guys. What do you guys think is like the weakest position, like going into this season? What worries you more? Like if you had to pick one position, you're like, holy crap, we're screwed.
Defensive line.
Defensive line. Me too. And that's the thing. It's like they didn't address it.
Nope.
They signed a guy off who's the guy you said, Jason? Some guy from played with Love or whatever? Or was he just outside linebacker? He played high school with Love.
Oh, yeah. No, he was he was a free agent, rookie free agent signing. I can't remember his name anymore. He's gonna make some plays though, linebacker. Because there's not that many.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if they have no
baby.
defensive line. The offensive line of the opposing team is going to just shove them around and get freaking 5 yards every time they move the ball or every play.
That was one. Go ahead, Bruce.
This is the only possibility, in my opinion, is that if Kiki all of a sudden takes a jump, and obviously him and Clark are next to each other. The other thing is if Gary takes a jump and he can play inside and outside along with Zadarius Smith, right? And I guess Preston can kind of go back and forth as well. Then we might have a shot in the inside and things like that. But if that doesn't happen, then I don't know. We're going to be one of the worst defensive lines in the league, in my opinion. If those things don't happen, they
already were last year.
Exactly. They got to take a jump. Kiki's got to take a jump, and Gary's got to take a jump. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who we got at corner and safety because it's not going to make a difference.
The only thing that helps out, right, is and we saw this for years as well with the Vikings, right, when they had Adrian Peterson, and they could have just kept running on the Packers, but all of a sudden they decided to throw the ball, and you're like, thank you. That's better. So offensive coordinators, not commitment to running the ball. I mean, as long as you don't play Shanahan, most of them are like, we've been doing enough of this running. Let's just throw it now. oh, the Packers are like, hey, we're a hell of a lot better at pass defense and we are run defense. So, okay, great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean,
But that's the thing.
that'll help them out.
Everybody saw the NFC Championship game, dude.
I know, but
So this year, it doesn't matter who you are. They're going to all be running. They're all going to be like, we're going to run until they can prove they can stop us. And just watch. And it doesn't matter if you got Kevin King or Jair Alexander or me playing cornerback, because they're going to just run right over us.
I don't
And Bruce
know.
is right.
Listen, I don't know if NFL coaches have the same commitment as my 7th and 8th grade coach, Bob Hafman, who had us run the same damn play every time until the other team stopped it.
Here.
It was 46 power until they stop it, guys.
You're running like Novocaine.
I don't know. I mean, it's scary though. Yeah, I mean, because Kenny Clark was worn down last year and doubled a lot, and he is a very good player, but he looked tired. He looked like he wasn't standing out a lot of games, and without at least somebody else in there to step up, like we've said before, Lowry's a nice guy to spell. Okay, Lancaster. Okay, have him come in and spell once in a while. But you got to have at least somebody else in there that can hold the ground, take on a double team.
Well, the thing is, I think
rush.
Lancaster can do that. The problem that they made the mistake on is they put Lancaster at outside or at a defensive end last year.
The 3, yeah.
On a lot of plays. And when he's out there, he's got to cover more space. You know what I mean? So if he gets pushed one way or the other, he's not going to move laterally. It's just like the Gilbert Brown thing. Gilbert Brown, if you ran, 3 yards to the left or 3 yards to the right, Gilbert Brown was not going to get you. Right? But Gilbert Brown would hold his ground to get 2 or 3 guys and soak up blocks, which allowed Santana Dotson to beat one guy and make the play. Right? Now, that was a 4-3, which I actually like way better than 3-4. That's just me. We've been playing a 3-4 for years, so there's nothing else we can do. But even when we had a 3-4 and won the Super Bowl, we had Colin Jenkins. How much did Colin Jenkins weigh? Over 300 pounds. We had B.J. Raji. How much did he weigh? Over 300 pounds. We had Brian Pickett. How much did he weigh? Over 300 pounds. We had guys on the defensive line that could hold up the offensive linemen, shed the blocks, stop the run, and contain the quarterback and let the outside linebackers play, and whoever else, whether it was, I don't know, who was that other white guy with the Z? Went to it's the Chiefs. And they had Eric Weddle and all these other guys.
Frank Zombo.
Frank Zombo, right. All those guys are blitzing. And it wasn't those 3 big guys. All their job was soak up the block, shed it on the run play. Now what do we got? We got Lowry, who's 6'6", who doesn't get leverage and gets shoved around. We got Lancaster, who's a nose tackle playing defensive end, who doesn't move side to side. And then we got Kenny Clark, who's really great. Problem is, he gets double teamed all the time and he can't get off the blocks. And then we got nobody who's pursuing. What do? They put Zadarius Smith inside. Well, guess what? He's fast, and he's 265 pounds. But 265 pounds against a 300-pound offensive lineman, it's kind of hard to beat that. And maybe he could beat the guy, and then the offensive. And if he picks the wrong way, by the way, offensive lineman just lets him go, because then running back shoots the other way. So it's a philosophy problem. If you're going to play a 3-4, you got to have 3 big monsters on that defensive line to clog up the crap, and they don't have that.
Yeah. And they don't have linebackers to play 4-3
Oh, no. Well, they don't have inside linebackers either. To play a 4, I mean, if you're going to play a 3-4, you got to have inside linebackers who can pursue and fill the gap, because there's going to be gaps, and they don't have that. They don't have anybody. They got a guy who's hurt. They got a guy who used to play quarterback. They got a drafted guy who's hurt. And they got a guy who played safety, who they tried to make him a linebacker. And none of it's worked. So there's a lot of problems.
All right, Brown's going to go to bed. Brown, welcome back to Wisconsin.
Midnight already? I don't even know.
No, but Brown, he was driving RV, man, all day and all the time. So Bernard definitely says, and Brown also echoed the D-line being the biggest issues, run defense. So, all right, I got my own prediction, Bruce. Now, the way it's going to work, no preseason games, only 18 ramp-up practices, and only 3 padded practices before they start playing games. So my prediction is the Packers are saying, hey, Clay Matthews and Mike Daniels, we don't need to sign you guys yet. We'll bring you in. the week before the first game, before the opener. You guys know what you're doing. Stick you in there, and magically the run defense is fixed.
I'm all for it. Those would be
I'll
two
take
good
Mike
teams.
Daniels.
That's a pretty big prediction right there.
I'd take both those guys right now.
Yeah. That's amazing. If that happens, you're the man, because wow, that's a big prediction. It really is.
I don't even care if they wait.
What else are they gonna do? I guess who else is there to fill those?
I got another one.
They didn't draft anybody.
Jordy Nelson, they're going to bring him back too. They're going to call Greg Jennings. They're like, hey, come on, Greg Jennings.
Yeah.
They're going to call Mark Tauscher and be like, hey, Bobby Wagner's having some problems. Billy Wagner's whatever his name is, having some problems. You want to come in?
Tauscher's fat.
Tauscher has lost a little weight, but not too much.
They're going to call Joe Thomas. They'll be like, hey, you used to play for the
that'd be
Badgers.
nice.
Come on and be a Packer.
Oh, he's lost a lot of weight.
I know.
Though.
He
He's
only weighs
so
200
small
pounds.
now.
They're going to call him. They're going to call him to play wide receiver. Oh, tight end. He can play tight end.
Freaking Mike D is he's got so much rage. They come on, like I mean, how did they go the whole draft and not go defensive lineman anywhere? I mean,
especially when there was like 6-7 guys that were really good in like the second, third rounds.
The same way we did that crazy ass first round pick.
You know what they could have done? They could have picked. Was it Blackburn? He was there. Yeah, even if they would have traded back to the early second round, they could have gotten him and still gotten a receiver. And then they still could have gotten what's his name at running back?
The Sauce. Just say the Sauce.
The Sauce. And then they could have still probably gotten their tight end. I mean, seriously, they could have gotten everybody they have plus everybody else, and filled the holes besides, of course, Love, which we don't care about. So.
Ben, those are very good points, Bruce. I'm thrown off by Ben, who's watched more AJ Dillon videos than anyone who is a Packers fan.
I have.
And he doesn't. Have you not seen all the ones that say the Sauce? That was his nickname in college.
I didn't know.
Probably in high school. That's all.
Okay, I haven't watched the AJ Dillon video in like 3 months. I watched it right after they drafted him. I watched I stayed up till 6 a.m.
The Sauce, Ben. You like the Sauce? Is that right?
You like the Sauce? Hey Ben, but you're like an elephant. You're like Aaron Rodgers. You remember everything. So come on, where are you, man? Except people's names. You don't remember.
I don't remember
names.
I remember everything.
Their nicknames.
Is there two?
I remember. Yeah, no, not like you, anyways. But I remember everything, but I remember it all incorrectly. That's my problem, I think.
If Eckes drinks a little bit more, he's going to start to do total recall on you from like 25 years ago about a time he was drunk and you told him something. I can tell. Come on, Eckes, pound that beer and let's see what happens.
He's got to get drinking more than that. Way more.
Oh,
I've seen Eckes. I've seen more of Eckes than I ever wanted to. Trust me.
Oh,
I lived with them for like 4 out of my 8.5 years in college.
No, I thought you were referring to you've seen more of his person, not time-wise. I thought you were talking about more parts of him than anyone should see.
Probably both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eckes, I don't remember if you were around when I told the story of the chair, my rocking chair that you ruined.
Oh, that was a terrible story.
By repeatedly releasing your gas into it in a drunken evening, that then the smell would never come out of the cushion, so I had to just throw it out. I let that sit in your apartment for another 4 months, and when I took it back, it still smelled exactly like you were right there, and I was like, I just cannot have this be my only memory of Jason Eckes anymore. So
I think it was Hauser.
It was you. I heard about it, and then I think when I showed up that morning at you guys' apartment, you were actually passed out in that chair, and so I knew it was you.
Was I wearing this shirt?
Maybe. I don't remember that.
Probably.
I got one more thing for you guys. One more thing. Now the Packers this is kind of exciting news. The Packers are one of 3 finalists to potentially host the 2024 NFL draft, which is pretty damn cool. Because for how long we've heard they've been trying to do it, and everybody's like, "Oh, you can't ever do that in Green Bay. There's not enough hotels. There's not enough this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, the Packers have built up a bunch of stuff around Lambeau Field, and now it appears that they got a chance at it. That'd be pretty damn cool.
As a season ticket holder, my ass will be there. I don't care what my brothers and sisters say. I'm bigger than all of them. I'm going.
I'll come with it.
You can fight my wife, but she used to be your boss. So
My question is, will they allow the team owners to draft for the Packers that year instead of their GM, which might actually turn out better?
Mark Murphy's not that smart, I don't think.
He's a business guy. He's not a football guy.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All I know is this: if I was Brian Gutekunst and or whoever the general manager is in 2024,
That's what I was just going to ask. Will Brian Gutekunst
I don't
be
know.
general manager in 2020?
Good question.
I don't know if I would want to actually have the draft in Green Bay, especially after what they just did this last time. Because I got a feeling if that was in Green Bay, it would have been a lot of problems.
We've been riding going on.
What if this happens? What if 2024, the draft is in Green Bay? Andrew Love, they've moved on from Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love, sorry, I don't know why I called him Andrew. Jordan Love has already proven to be a bust, and they are drafting another quarterback in 2024. That's my prediction.
That could possibly happen. I think that's like 75% chance.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but it's
but surprisingly,
Bruce,
they
you gotta
could
stop
they
saying-
could have
negative.
they could still have
Jason's gonna want
Aaron
you
Rodgers
back.
as their quarterback at that time. My view would be, wow, let's have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback at least until that year and make a decision in 2024. How about
2
that?
years, he's gone. Sorry, man. Not gonna happen.
Dang it, Bruce.
I'm sorry, man. Look at the numbers. In 2 years, they don't need to keep him. 2 years, he's gone. You don't trade up for a quarterback 4 spots in the first round and give him guaranteed money and then say, oh, yeah, we're just going to keep this other guy, for 4 years, and then he's not going to get on the field. No, you don't do that. Sorry. I don't see it.
Well, if Love shows that he's a complete bust and they can't trust him at all, then
How do they know he's a complete bust if he doesn't get on the field? Besides preseason.
I'm just saying, if Rodgers is the league MVP or Rodgers is playing lights out,
Yeah, that's true.
how do you get rid of him?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
And especially the Packer fan base, they would run LaFleur and Gutekunst or whoever out of town as fast as possible if they did. So I don't think you said 75% or something, and I don't know. I don't want to put a percentage on it. I can see it happening, but I can also see Rodgers playing well enough to keep him.
I hope he does. But Bruce, I've already said this. Okay, if your prediction that they signed Kevin King back comes true, then they will have their test for Jordan Love, because if he gets picked off by Kevin King in practice, he's not ready to play in the NFL.
Good point.
He's not.
Very good.
Kevin King
So-
had 5 picks last year.
Yes. Do you want to go back and watch the film? Do you want me to recall Kevin
listen.
King?
I know
he's beating
the
up a
problems
guy.
with Kevin
He's
King.
standing right there. The quarterback throws it right to him. Oh, I won't drop this one. I'll drop the next one, but this one I'll hang on to. Oh, let me fumble around. Then I try to run and then I fall on my face. Yeah, that's awesome. He's really good. Go ahead.
I'm not saying he's good. I'm just saying he's not terrible.
Ben. They passed on drafting TJ Watt and then moved back.
I know.
Got that guy.
They do that all the time. It's
Yeah.
nothing new.
Except, come on, man. I'm going to tell you this. Before I looked at TJ Watt's statistics from last year, I wasn't quite as upset. I'm like, okay, Kevin King's not the worst thing ever. Yeah, he gets hurt a lot, and he's sort of okay when he plays. And sometimes he tackles well, and then I think he hurts his shoulder, and then he stops tackling well. But then I looked at TJ Watt's season last year, and when I saw that he had 81 pressures, only second, I think, to Za'Darius in the whole NFL, and he had 15 sacks or whatever, 14 and a half, 15 sacks. And then he had all the QB hits. And then he had 8 forced fumbles and 8 passes defensed. Like, that's insane production from an outside backer in a 3-4 system. And the Packers are committed to a 3-4 system. Why in the hell did you get that guy? I mean, not even that you didn't get him. You passed on him. You're like, he's sitting right in your face. Oh, nah. We'll just step back here. This cornerback out of Washington. We've been terrible at drafting cornerbacks for the last 10 years. Let's try that again since we're so bad at it. What the? Come on, man. Come on, Packers.
Not good at drafting.
No, they are not. And you're right, Egg. As you said earlier, some teams haven't been terrible at drafting. And those are the teams that, like the Saints, have a huge turnaround from being 7-9, 7-9, and all of a sudden being in the NFC Championship game because they get a bunch of good freaking draft picks. I can't leave you on that note. Somebody give us a bright spot. Ben, Eckes?
I got a bright spot.
There you go.
Chris Sims did his top 10 wide receivers, and he didn't put Devontae in the top 10 wide receivers. Not only did he not put Devontae in the top 10 wide receivers, he put a guy who hasn't played since October of 2018 at number 7. And Devontae's not even the top 10.
Devontae's number 2 in the league. Thomas is the only one that's better. That's my opinion.
Okay. I don't know about that. And Tyreek Hill, he put Tyreek Hill number 1. And here's the funniest thing is as I'm listening to his top 10, it goes from 10 to 8, and I'm listening, because I didn't know what it was ahead of time. And I'm like, oh my God. And then he had like DeAndre Hopkins at like 6 or something, or 5, and Beckham Jr. was at 6. And I'm like, wow, he must really think of something of Devontae. But I know I've heard him when he mentions the top receivers in the league, he never mentions Devontae. And I'm like, holy crap. And then he says another guy. He says Michael Thomas at 3, and I'm like, no way. Because in my mind, Tyreek Hill is not in my mind. I'm thinking it's only Devontae and Julio. Then he says Julio Jones at 2, and I'm like, holy crap. He put Devontae at number 1? Chris Sims finally did something right? And then he says Tyreek Hill, and I'm like, what the what? I couldn't believe it. I was honestly shocked. Because I actually have like that much respect for Chris Sims, and now I have that much respect for Chris Sims. How can you put AJ Green, a guy who hasn't played since like October of 2018, at number 7? Coming off an injury that kicked him out for a whole season. He's better than Devontae, a guy who you watched in the playoffs destroy a single team. The Packers had nothing else going on that game. They had Devontae against Seattle. That was it. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae. That was it. And that guy doesn't make your list? Seattle knew what was up. You couldn't stop him.
Wasn't Cortland Sutton on that list too?
Yeah.
And then he had guys, he said he wanted to put DK. Then he mentioned
and
like
Diggs.
the honorable mentions.
Stefan
DK
Diggs
Metcalf.
too.
Yeah,
Nice.
Stephon Diggs was on it.
I'm sorry.
And he had DK Metcalf was like number 11. And like Debo Samuel, he mentioned all these guys. He's like, oh, it's really hard, but they're so young, I can't put them on there. And I'm like he mentioned like 15 guys. And then finally the other guy was like, what about Devontae Adams? And he's like, oh yeah, Devontae. Yeah, well, there's so many good receivers. And that's all he says.
Well, and isn't Adams in the last 5 years, doesn't he have the most touchdowns or something like that? I can't remember. Of all the receivers.
Something.
He's 1 or 2.
Like that.
I mean,
Yeah, he said, right.
Yeah.
Big
this
production.
last year kind of hurt him a little bit because, Aaron Jones had so many touchdowns and he was taking them because they actually ran the ball inside the 20-yard line instead of passing all the time.
Yeah.
But
Just a shitty list, a bad list. That's all.
no, I know.
It is bad.
I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this.
That's crazy disrespect.
It's honestly like, and I know, I mean, I'm a Packer fan. I have a Packer bias. Obviously, I do. I mean, come on.
Really?
I put Aaron Jones at number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10 on my running back list. So, I mean, I have a bias there. But to not even make the top 10 for a guy who consistently is the only guy on the team at this point that Rodgers looks at, number one, and number two is designed plays for or whatever it is. It's kind of like, come on. That thing, it drives me nuts. So I'm excited. We found out today they're going to play games, right? We found out today they got a thing going together. We're going into playoffs. We're going this weekend, the 28th, right? That's when they're supposed to be getting together, start learning stuff. We got three guys, the three triplets of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae, all been disrespected big time this offseason. Big time. By a lot, like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Aaron Jones. He's the most disrespected. And I
Well,
just hope to God they get him.
And let's be positive here at the end as well. Let's think about this. If our inside linebacker that we have brought in plays well and does not get injured, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's number one. If he plays well, if Kiki, takes that jump, I think that's huge. And then the other thing is if one of our receivers takes that next level as well, those three things happen, all of a sudden, different story. I think this team is a possibility to do some things. Three things, and not that can't happen. It can absolutely happen. So,
plus, I think
I agree.
With wide receiver, whether it's Funchess or somebody, I'd like it to be Kumaro, but Funchess or somebody, I think that somebody's going to step up. I do. I think that they're going to get somebody more involved. They see that they just stuffed it down Adam's throat last year, and they can't do that. So I think they're going to scheme for somebody. We'll just see who that is. Maybe a tight end. I don't know.
I think the best thing that has to happen is the offense has to produce points so that the defensive line issues does not become a problem. Because if we're scoring points and we're ahead, that forces the opposing team. They have to pass the ball. You know, if we have the lead and they're chewing up clock, running the ball and moving it, fine. Then we get the ball back and we score again, and we keep moving the ball. That's the thing. The offense needs to be huge, and with those three guys, that's what's going to make the difference between that team. Because we can't guarantee the defensive line is going to stop anybody.
The help is also you get to play Matt Nagy twice a year, so he'll inexplicably throw the ball when he should run it on a 3rd and 1. So that's how that helps.
Nick Foles might change that.
He might try to throw it too, or maybe he'll.
Hey, Mike Zimmer just signed a contract extension with
Mike
the
Zimmer
Vikings.
extended. I mean, he's a good coach, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I got a couple of positive. Here's some stuff from the chat. Ready? Nicole, whoever you are, says prediction is win less regular season games, but we'll be better prepared for postseason with power offense, can control the ball and sustain drives. That's when AR can dish for the dagger in the 4th quarter.
He's my buddy. He's drunk.
Wayne Larrabee.
If the games are close in the 4th quarter, I feel pretty good about the Packers winning. Also, one other quick thing is that your drunk buddy Eckes says that you would put Kumaro in the top 10 wide receivers on that Chris Sims list. You would add Kumaro in there.
He doesn't get enough passes.
This is Travis Jervey. Kumaro's is Travis Jervey.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's all we got for you tonight for B&E. Bruce and Eckes, thanks for joining us, guys. Ben, get a haircut?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You don't want to hurt Dad's feelings. Mom and Dad, we love you. Everybody take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Be good. Oh, I got to plug one quick thing. Sunday at 5 o'clock on the Evil Facebook, I'm going to be having a chance to talk with some people who started up a racial equality and justice group here in McFarland, where I live. And I get to talk to them about the good stuff they're doing. It should bring awareness to that and make some positive change. So I'm really excited that 5 o'clock on the Evil Facebook, Calling for Human Decency. Check that out on Facebook. And since I said McFarland, I have to correct myself because in the middle of last week's episode, when we did the side-by-side Max Kellerman, Nick McFarland pictures, which no one could hardly tell the difference, I said initially, even though his name is Nick McFarland, I said McFarland, and I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to do that, Nick. Apologize, buddy. I didn't mean to put the D on there. I just lived in this town now for over a year. I think it just stuck in my head. So
Wow, you screwed up one of
apologize
your
for that.
best friend's last name.
I did. I was Ben right
That
there.
you've known for
I couldn't think of
25
somebody's
years.
name. I'm sorry, man. I wasn't paying attention. I was so thrown by how alike they looked that I wasn't paying attention to the
It's true.
words that were coming
It
out
was
of my
exact.
mouth.
It's like a carbon copy.
Wait, do I still have it? Anyway, you got to go to last week's show. You guys take it easy. Peace out, everybody. Have a good
Hey,
weekend.
good job, Bruce. Good job,
Thanks,
Eckes.
Bruce. Thanks,
Cheers,
Eckes.
boy.
Stay
Take
safe.
care.
Drink some beer.